So that's some of the stuff from Deep Impact, so you can get it on Netflix maybe and check it out if you want to. Very interesting. There's all sorts of similarities there. So it just rises, it just knowing how much the occult is in Hollywood, I'm very suspicious. It's something I've spent a lot of time studying, and I'm telling you, they're littered with things in the occult where they're always telling things that are coming in the future by very powerful people who control the world. If you don't know that, that's exactly what we live in. You can look at what was that movie? The Knowing with Nicolas Cage, and they show a headline. He's watching TV, and an oil rig catches on fire in the Gulf Coast, and that was before the Gulf Coast oil spill. There's all sorts of things going on. I don't want to open Pandora's box too much for you guys. This is the world that I know things to be, but this is the things that happen in the occult, and they celebrate these things. Part of their religion is it's part of the cabal, and their part of their religion says we warn the people, or we tell the people what we're going to do to them before time, knowing that they're helpless to stop it. And that's part of their religion. So you see that celebrated in Hollywood, just so you know. So if you want to talk Hollywood sometime, I'll tell you all sorts of movies to stay away from. Okay, so this guy is Dr. Brown. He came out, what year was, let's see, July 29th, 2005. He said he found a 10th planet. It says it's definitely bigger than Pluto. Dr. Brown of California Institute of Technology announced the discovery of this new planet in the outer solar system on July 29th, 2005. So there's more planets. If you haven't heard about a 10th planet, this is already news. So if you haven't heard about it, more research. Now there's a very interesting Hopi prophecy. Has anyone heard of this Hopi prophecy? This Hopi prophecy kind of reads like this. When the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. This will be the day of purification. Also says in this prophecy, not far behind the twins will come the purifier, the red Kachina, who will bring forth the day of purification. On this day, the earth, her creatures, and all life as we know it will change forever. There will be messengers that will precede this comet of the purifier. They will leave messages to those on earth who remember the old ways. Okay, so why are we even reading a pagan prophecy? Now I want to just throw a little concept at you guys to think about. When Jesus was casting out the demons, I think it was by Capernaum. You remember that? And do you remember what the demons said? It was legion, right? There was a whole bunch of demons in this guy. He said, have you come to judge us before the appointed time? It's very important that we understand that we may be clueless on the time period that we live in. We may be thinking, oh, Jesus is coming back 1,000 years from now. But these demons knew precisely that it was not the appointed time for judgment. How did they know that? Because I believe that they know, they have access to information that you and I don't. They exist in a realm that's higher, in another heavenly realm or dimension, where they can see more and their vantage point is more than us. Does that make sense? So if there was a comet that was heading towards the earth, when do you think they would know about that? Before us. At least the people who don't have the billion-dollar telescopes. So I want you to think about that from the spiritual realm. People have presented, oh, Satan has to have an Antichrist ready for every generation because he doesn't know. I would actually say that Satan probably has a really good idea. Really good idea. Because if you were going to get locked up for 1,000 years and get that ankle bracelet, would you want to know, okay, how soon is that coming? I'm pretty convinced that Satan has a really good idea about when that time period is. But you go, wait, Scott, no one knows the day or the hour. Not the angels in heaven, but the Father only. Right? That's Matthew 24:35. When I start to talk like this, I get that response the most from churchgoers. But I want you to understand the verse immediately before that. It says, heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will not pass away. And of that day and hour knoweth no man, not the angels in heaven, but the Father only. So when you start to tell me that Satan doesn't know the time period where we go into that dark time of the tribulation, are you sure? Compare the verse immediately before that. Because the Word of God gives us so much detail about this time period that we're entering into, but it gives us no detail about heaven and earth passing away and when that is. So I would just do a little bit more Bible study before we bring those scriptures in. And I'm not saying that we can know the exact day that Jesus is going to come for us. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be the guy with the billboards, okay? Not trying to be that guy. But I want us to kind of put on our thinking caps and try and see things in the spiritual realm that we can't see with our viewpoint from earth, okay? Satan is the prince of the power of the air, right? Okay, so this Hopi prophecy, every false religion is totally satanic. Every single one of them. That's who the founder is. You don't have to worry about looking at Wikipedia to look for the founder. It's Satan. So, fallen angels and principalities are in charge of each of these false religions. And they can communicate. Hebrews 13:2 says, be careful to talk to strangers, for some have entertained angels unaware. Hebrews 13:2. So that can apply good and bad. Okay? So when Muhammad was in a cave and he saw an angel, it's just a fallen angel talking to him and telling him, hey, here's a new religion I want you to start. Well, same with what's going on. So a false religion's prophecy, even though the religion is false, doesn't necessarily mean that the prophecy should be ignored. Does that make sense? Okay. So Hopi prophecy. So we're looking for basically a bright blue star to kick things off, and then a red star to come after that is what they're essentially saying. And it'll be a catastrophic change for humanity. Okay, the Mayan calendar. You've heard about December 21st, 2012. Now, one of the lead guys on the whole Mayan calendar thing, he doesn't believe in December 21st, 2012. He thinks that that is a fictitious date. This guy has been researching it for 20 years. Dr. let's see, what is his name? Dr. Kalaman. And so he's world-renowned. You bring up the Mayan calendar, people know about this guy, okay? And so he actually says that out of these steps of the Mayans' awakening or an increased consciousness of humanity, the final step is the 9th universal wave. And he said that 9th universal wave started on March of this year and will end on October 28th. So some people are going, hey, it's December 21st, 2012. Well, it's believed that that was actually made up by the Illuminists to give people a false timeline, keep them clueless. So just so you know, if you're into the whole Mayan prophecy, you may want to look this up, because the Mayan calendar actually indeed ends on October 28th of this year. Very interesting. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go into looking for Nibiru. So here's what I'm going to lay out for you. Comet Elenin, I think, might be that blue Kachina star. It's got the qualities to it that it's got that hydrogen cyanide that can hold the energy. Okay. And so at that point where it comes in real close to the sun and reaches perihelion with the sun on September 6th, it's going to light up like a light bulb, and it's going to be a blue light bulb. Okay? That's a potential. I want you to understand, I'm not saying this is for sure what's going to happen, but from the research I've done, that's a potential of what could take place September 6th. It will look as bright as a second sun, and it will have a blue tinge. So that means that there is another object that's on its way, that's coming. Okay? A red object. Okay, so there's many blogs online, there's many people on YouTube saying that Nibiru is actually on its way. It's coming towards the Earth. So I just want to show you a few anomalies that I found on Google Sky and also Microsoft Worldwide Telescope. So if you come here to Google Earth, first of all, I want to show you a picture. This is a pretty famous picture that came out around January of 2008 from the telescope in the South Pole. So it was reported that Nibiru was first actually seen in 1983, and as a result of that, America, we built a telescope on the South Pole in 2006. So in January of 2008, this image allegedly came from the South Pole telescope, And so this is allegedly Nibiru. Here are some, possibly maybe some moons that are orbiting Nibiru. But what caught everyone's notice was there were some coordinates that were left on the picture on the bottom left-hand corner. And what you see here is 5 hours, 53 minutes, 27 seconds, -6, 10 degrees, 58. And so if you plug those coordinates into Google Sky, you'll see something very interesting. So I'll pull up Google. And on Google, if you go to the top toolbar, you'll see this button right here. It's going to take you from the Earth view to the sky view, if you have the most updated version. So we're pulling up Google Sky now. And I'm going to take those coordinates, which I have on this, this Post-it right here. I'm going to copy those. And then we're going to paste those here into Google Sky. And I'm going to hit search, and you're going to see something quite interesting. So here we go. It's going to take us in right by Orion's belt. And here we go. It takes us into this blacked out region on Google Sky. But if you zoom out a little bit, you're going to notice something, that blacked out region is actually just a cropped black rectangle that's blacking out whatever is behind it. So it's kind of odd as that picture claims to have the coordinates to Nibiru, and then you actually try and plug those coordinates into Google Sky, and that area has just been cropped out. It's a big black rectangle. And to further illustrate this, if you go to the bottom of the rectangle, you can zoom in. Maybe I went too far. If you zoom in here, you can see that it's cutting like star. This star right here is just cut right in half. And it has this little information tab right here. You can click on that. Pops up a window, but it gives you no information. Whereas other tabs here on Google Sky, you could click on it, it'd tell you, oh yeah, this is that star, and yada yada yada. But this area, for some reason, is completely blacked out by Google Sky. So it's interesting. Then if you follow the story of this whole deal on YouTube further, there are other people who actually looked on Microsoft's Worldwide Telescope, and they claim to have found Nibiru on here, possibly. So if we look at starting at the sun, and you plug these coordinates in on Microsoft Worldwide Telescope, 06, first of all, be on the sky mode here in the bottom left-hand corner. Make sure you're on sky. Under distance, make sure you keep it at J2000. Under RA, 06, 08, 55. Under DEC, 22, 47, 21. Plug those in and hit go. It's going to take you away from the sun. It's going to take you now above Orion's belt. Some are claiming that Nibiru has moved, and now it's sitting above Orion's belt. Here's Orion down here, and it takes you into this image, which some are claiming is Nibiru, the brown dwarf star. So if indeed this is Nibiru, that's quite fascinating. That's interesting. We can actually pull up the coordinates from this through this window, and then you can actually plug those coordinates in to Google Sky. And I think you'll be amazed at what